Depending on what kind of view you want to take, what kind of camera, it might be interesting having this effect of tiles on the floor. So I have already done all these tiles, and I'm going to do the same here. Okay. By default, we have this color for the model lines because we're going to use architecture model lines. Okay. And well, if you create the model line, we have the green line. Okay, and that depends on what level we're in. So first thing, we need to find out on the west elevation what level we want to. Okay, so I'm going to work on the lower terrace now. So this is the upper terrace or the house itself. The lower terrace is level 1. Okay, so I'm going to open level 1 and I don't see this. Okay, so now I'm on level 1 and I can see this. Okay, and on level 2, I have this. If I try to draw these model lines on level 2, then if you open the 3D view, you see that the line is not, it doesn't have the right elevation. If we, we can change this edit work plane probably here. If we select level 1, then it works, okay? But it's better if we work directly on level 1. On level 0 is where we have the plan that we want to trace, okay? Well, so I have done this here, but it could be somewhere else. So how many tiles do we have between 2 axes? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that means that we need how many lines? If this is the first one, grid 1, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this grid line is the 9th one. So I need 7 more green lines here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is on level 1, I'm going to copy 7 lines like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we need 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, between 2 grid lines, there are 8 spaces. If you use annotate aligned, and if you click all these dimensions that are different, then we move it here, we click EQ, and then we have 9 lines at the same distance. And if we go to the 3D view, they are on the right floor or on the right level. Okay. So now we have to copy these lines on level 1. I just need 1 here. Yeah, because between this grid line and the edge of the floor, we have just 1. So I'm going to copy 1 of those from this point to that point. Okay, so I have a grid line here. And now we're gonna need another line on the grid. I didn't do it, but they have to be on the grid. And now I can copy all these grid lines here. We can do this because all the grid lines are at the same distance. Okay. And now I need the last one here. Okay, so now we can do the same. We can divide this into different lines: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I can do this, or I can do something. I think it's better. I'm going to draw a diagonal, a line diagonal, and I'm going to use 45 degrees. So if I use 45 degrees, I make sure that this intersection will be a square. So if you keep going at 45 degrees until you get up to this point, there's an accuracy here. It's too bad. But yeah, this is perfect. Okay, it's still, nobody will notice. So far, we're going to trace lines in this direction. So if we go to architecture, model line, and then at the intersection of each line, we have this. There's something I don't like here. Yep. So for some reason, this is wrong. Okay, so this distance is good enough, 2 feet 9 inches, that's good. But this is not 2 feet 9 inches. Well, it's easy because I can always select this and edit in place. Edit extrusion. And I'm going to move this here. And now I make sure that this is 2 feet 9 inches too. Okay. And now I only have to copy this one at each intersection. Copy here. Copy here. Slightly. Okay, so on and so forth. And now once we have the right distance, we just can copy here. And finally, I delete the diagonal line. That's it. Well, if we have this in hidden lines, we see that we hide the green lines, but if we have a wireframe, we can do this, okay? So it depends. What did I do here? Here, I didn't do the thing of the hidden line. Here, I did this. Okay, if I go all the way up, this is hidden line because it's a solid wall. If I turn this into wireframe, I see this here, but if I do this as a hidden line, that's good. But what about this? In this room on level 0, yeah, probably in the master bedroom, we do have grid lines, but we don't have tiles in this mechanical core, on this mechanical room. So if I want to do this, I'm gonna use this option, split element. So if you split element and you click here on this line, now you have 2 different lines and you can move this way and then you can move that way. So if we want to have tiles inside the bathroom, I can extend these lines here. And I can extend these lines here. But if I want to remove those lines and I have a continuous line, I use that split option. And then I have two lines and I can, I can split them. Okay, so that's good. We have these lines on the 3D view too. The issue is that we want these green lines here. By the way, this is not, there's a line left here on level 2. Yeah, because I don't have grid lines here on, I don't have a tile here on that grid line. So now it should work. Yeah, that works. Okay, that's actually good because if I'm on level 1 and I take a view camera here, okay, having these tiles, I think help you create something better. Probably this will be confusing, but we can solve it by creating, okay, so then we can work with this image. Okay, but I think this is a good perspective. So I like this one and I don't like those, but then I will fix it. On level 2, I'm going to select this green line and I want to turn those lines into something grayish, not black, but gray, because we have to keep in mind that here tiles are less important than the structure. So the line of the structure, if it's a continuous black line, if this is a continuous line, it shouldn't be the same color as this. It should be like grayish. So that's what I'm going to do. Level 2, select right click and override graphics in view by category, because I want to do the same with all these model lines. So if I do this by category, I have this color here. Well, probably by default, here you have default material or something, object style, sorry. Yeah, by default you have by object style. So I want it solid. And then the color, I want something gray, like this, okay, this gray. And the weight, important, it's the thinnest one. So it's 1. Apply. And now all these lines are gray. I would do the same on level 1. So on level 1, you see that we have the same issue. So we have to do this at all the levels. And if we have different 3D views, we have to do the same here. It's always right click, hide in view, category. Well, sorry. It's override, not hide, override graphics in view, category. And I want gray, one. There you go. I'm not happy with this because that will be confusing. But this is something that we can fix later with Photoshop, especially if we take a screenshot with this, and then we take another screenshot, override graphics in view. No, now I want to hide in view, and I want to hide the category. So I can take 2 screenshots with and without the lines. Okay. But on level 1, I have to do it again. So it's override graphics by category, solid, gray, weight 1, apply. So that's much better. And but as we are adding more details, I think the drawing is getting better and better. Okay, and we can use this on different 3D views. So I'm going to try something different. I did this in this view, probably in the other views that I have created with Revit and then done with Photoshop. Probably it's not necessary. But if I place the camera here, I think having the tiles, it's something good. So let's do it. I'm going to explore different effects here. This is the hidden line. And then we have shaded, the realistic. Okay, so I think I'm going to apply some materials. So in other videos, I've shown you that we can apply a default material for everything. But this house, I mean, if I select everything, or let's select this floor, if I edit in place, okay, I'm going to select the floor, then edit in place, then I select this, and I change the material. And I'm going to use aluminum, okay, because aluminum is a good default material for this. And now for all the finish model and all the columns, I'm going to select all columns. Including these ones. I don't have the material here. It's too bad. So I have to go one by one. So if I do this, edit in place, select visibility graphic. No, I select material, and I can select aluminum. Okay. Okay, I have changed everything to aluminum one by one, all the columns. So there's no other way to do it. I have used this in graphic display options. I have used cast shadows and ambient shadows. If I don't use it, it's like this. If I cast shadows, I have that. And if I show ambient shadows, well, it's a little, there's no difference. But I mean, the casting shadows, it's not good enough because I'm not happy with the sun angle. So I think I'm going to use the sun settings. I'm going to select still, and by default, we have this. So you can see that depending on the sun, and as I told you before, I think the best day to take good screenshots is December. Yes, that's probably the best of the days. Okay, this is PM. Let's try AM. Okay. Yeah, I like this one. Here, I have tiles, and with tiles, I can do something with it. but here tiles are bothering me. I don't need tiles here. So what I'm gonna do is to take a screenshot with tiles and another one without tiles. For sure, I want to hide in view this element. Don't need it. And here I have the horizon. I have created the horizon with the graphic display options as a background. If you select none, you don't have horizon. Probably it might work this way. Yeah, I think because the horizon is just this, so I will do that with Photoshop. And okay, so I'm going to architecture file, print. I'm going to print a PDF, Microsoft preview. This one. Well, the quality is because this is a preview, but if I print the real one, it will look much better. I have saved this, and now I'm going to save another one without tiles. I'm going to write graphics in view. Now I'm going to hide in view all this category, and I'm going to print another one. Print. Okay, so I have tiles number 2. And finally, I'm going to print the last one with shadows, but without ambient shadows. Light, okay? And I'm going to print it again. Okay, so I have 3, one with tiles, one without tiles, and this one without tiles and without anything. I'm going to print a 4th one. Is this one with tiles? So I am going to reveal hidden elements, and I'm going to unhide in view the category. And I'm going to print out this one too. Okay, so now I have this without and with tiles. And what I'm gonna do now is to open all these files in Photoshop. And I'm going to create different layers, and then I will try to work with all these layers and see what happens. Now I'm opening Photoshop, and I select this, open with Photoshop, make sure that they all have the same resolution. This is too high, but let's work with 300 pixels per inch. And now I have different drawings or different files in Photoshop. And what I want to do is to select everything. And I'm going to create a single file with 4 layers. So the first one, Control V, the second one, Control V, and finally this one, Control V. I close the rest without changes. And here I have a file with 4 layers. Once I have all the layers here, I can crop the view, but just in case, maybe I would need something else with, no, okay. I know that I'm not going to crop it yet because I want to see what happens here. So for example, if I open this one and this one, if I want tiles, but I don't want tiles there, Okay, so what I can do is to do this. And if I do something like that, we have here the effect of tiles, but it's not too much. It's not too important. So those lines are thin enough so that they are there, and they add, and even these ones, they don't bother because they are so thin that they don't bother at all. Now, you can do the same thing with the sky and with the floor. So I don't mind what kind of effect you use for here. But probably if we want to make it more realistic, at least the floors, we should create another effect with Revit, and I can take the fifth picture. Okay, let me try. If we look at the original house, the floor material is a very nice Italian marble, which is travertine. Okay, so we see this marble, the name is travertine, and it's something that you can find in Italy. You can find this travertine in Italy in a lot of places. But I mean most of the this is Peruvian travertine. Okay, so most of the monuments in Italy, they are made of. Okay, so this is the kind of stone that you can find in this in all these churches in Rome. So all these facades are made of travertine, and all these floors are made of travertine. And if you go to Bernini's St. Peter's, the Vatican Square, you can find travertine everywhere. Okay, so it's a very popular material, and Mies van der Rohe used this on the floors, the two floors of the house. So we have to find a texture that it's travertine. I'm going to copy this image on Photoshop, and I'm going to open a new one, and I'm going to create this. Okay. Here you see that we do have tiles. I'm splitting hairs here, so probably I'm doing something that's too advanced. But if we use this material, this clone stamp tool, we can delete all these tiles. So you can click Alt. If you click Alt, you click a target, and then you apply this to the material itself, and then you see how you can delete easily all these tiles that we have here. Okay, so this is a trick that we have to delete all these tiles, and with a little patience, we can delete all the tiles from this. Travertine is something irregular, so it doesn't matter if you have irregular elements here, but at least we don't have these black lines because we have our own tiles here, and we don't need this. Okay. Well, when I think the area is big enough, I can crop it. Crop. And if we have to avoid these kind of things, because if we repeat this texture, there will be a pattern. So if there are no patterns like this, I think it would look better. So I'm going to save this picture as travertine, as an image. And now I'm going to insert this in Revit. So next we have to insert that material, that texture in Revit. And by default, we have this architecture tab. If you go to manage, we can use materials. And on materials, I'm going to create a new one, create a new material. And here I have the name. So I'm going to name it 00 travertine. 00, it's because I want it to be at the top of the list, because that it will be easier to find. And then in appearance, if you click here, image, we have to browse, and I will select the travertine. Okay, this is it. And now I have inserted the travertine here. If you double click on the material, that's important. By default, we have the size of this is 1 foot by 1 foot. And so this doesn't work. So the first thing we have to do is to scale, and we're going to make it at least 15 by 15 feet. I mean, not 15 feet by 15 feet. And we select done, apply, and okay. And there's an option, let me see if that works, because if I select this and I paint, here I can select the travertine. And then done. So I have selected a material here, and if I use realistic, now the travertine is there. Okay. Probably we don't know this, but if we take a good picture, the travertine will be there. Another option is to select the object and to change the material. Instead of aluminum, I'm going to use travertine. Okay, now this is clear that we have a different material here. So I'm going to import this picture too. I'm going to hide in view this category. And you see that I have this travertine here. So now we have a texture, needs more realistic. So I'm going to print it again, and then I will import it to Photoshop. Okay, so now one of the layers is the layer with travertine. And if I do this, you see that changing the opacity of this one, I can see the travertine. And I do have the tiles there. If I want to see the actual tiles without the white background, I can select all these Okay. Now that I can choose, I have two renders, this one with the material and this one without the material. I think the one with travertine is better, so I'm going to delete this because I don't need that layer anymore. Okay. So I actually like this. So I think I can do the same with the steps. The steps are made of travertine as well. If we look at the Farnsworth house, we see that we have the same material here. So I think I can use the same material for the steps. But then I have to go back to Revit. I select all these. I don't have a material, so I have to edit in place. I select the same thing again, and then I use the same travertine for the steps. You can see that they are made of travertine. And what I'm gonna do now is to print out the image, but without these borders. So if I go to realistic graphic display options, and if I don't show the edges, now I think I have a more realistic approach to the material. So let's print this out. And again, now I have two layers. I have this one without the lines, this one with the lines. So I like this one, so I can delete the other one. Okay, so little by little, I am adding more details to my drawing. And by doing this and changing this opacity, yes, I think the problem with this one is this too dark. So probably adding this will help understand the materials. Yeah, so that's the effect I want. And now you can keep doing this, but that's why I didn't crop it. I didn't crop the picture because if I take different PDF files or I print it in different PDF files and then I open it here, if I have the same size, I don't have to adjust the image. If you crop it here and here, and then you find out that, okay, yeah, I need another picture. So I have to open another picture I have to print another picture in Revit. I import it to Photoshop. And then if I try to paste it here, you see that it doesn't work well. And then I have to adjust it. It's possible because you can adjust it, but it's easier if you don't crop it first. Okay.